Hello all, and welcome to the Panorama Consulting Group ERP Vendor Spotlight. Thanks for joining us. Today we're highlighting the Oracle Cloud ERP application. My name is Kristin Vault, and I'm Director of Industry Relations at Panorama and also Manager of Software Selection. Today we have with us Nick from Oracle, and we've got the team from Apps Associates. Apps Associates is an Oracle system integrator, and they'll be doing the majority of the presentation today. We have a nice offer of a free consulting hour for the first few respondents to today's webinar, so please try to take advantage of that. And today we're looking into some recent trends from both the Panorama side and the Oracle Apps Associates side. We're also going to have a brief overview of the application itself. A little bit on Panorama and who we are. See on the left-hand side here, full line of management consulting services. Software selection has always been our bread and butter. We also do some expert witness work that allows us to see some of the reasons for failures of large ERP implementations. And in the middle, we have our industries across many different industries. And what this allows us to do is really gain access to best practices and standardizations really across the board. And on the right-hand side here, you can see our base of consultants, very experienced and well-educated people. We also have our own certification and methodology for Panorama. So our delivery team is always consistent. It's just a brief snapshot of some of our clients. Panorama has a global reach in serving many different industries, manufacturing, healthcare. We also work in public sector government. We work with companies that are startup with no revenue. We also work with companies that are $20 billion plus. These are the few of the vendors that we work with. Our projects range from tier 1 enterprise projects all the way down to small and mid-sized market type projects as well. So we get great exposure to many different ERP systems. We get great exposure to niche applications as well, such as supply chain management and workforce management. The intent today is to provide some exposure to what we're seeing in the industry, do some discovery information about Oracle and Apps Associates, and then get a brief overview of the application. So we'll quickly highlight some of the recent trends that Panorama has experienced with our client base. Many of our manufacturing and distribution companies are really trying to digitize their supply chain. They're using secure portals and blockchain transactions in order to help this, and also forecasting and collaboration through procurement. We've seen a large increase in those types of projects. Artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, we're seeing more practical usage on the shop floor in combination with workflow and business intelligence. For example, machines may be monitored, and if they're outside of tolerance, that may automatically kick off an alert or a notification and even an action with an ERP system. And that does start with some of the artificial intelligence tools. Both our customers and the vendors that we work with are always trying to increase the customer experience. Oracle is doing a great job of showing the new customer experience through their applications, through many data points and many analytics. It's helping organizations really target better customers and make more efficient out of their current customer base. And then we're also seeing many best practices and standardizations. So many companies are adopting best practices that are out of the box, or standard processes that are out of the box ERP system, rather than changing or customizing the system. This allows for a shorter duration of ERP implementations. So at this point, I'll hand it over to Nick at Oracle.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. My name is Nick Voll, and I am in Oracle Alliances, I run our advisory practice here, and I work with firms such as Panorama Consulting, making sure that they have access to the most up-to-date information in terms of Oracle Cloud. And I also make sure that they're well connected to our best system integrators and cloud implementers. To that end, when Chris brought the idea of a vendor showcase to me around ERP and in the manufacturing industry, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone better equipped to speak about these topics than the team at Apps Associates. So I've made the connection between Panorama as well as Apps Associates to put this on today because they are one of our premier cloud excellence implementers. They're certified up and down the stack. They're a cloud excellence implementer, and what that means is not only have they gone through the trainings and technical certifications, but they have multiple successful go lives under their belt, and that is also quantified by customer surveys that are 8 or higher. So they've done many of these. They're well qualified to speak to this. So with that, I do want to turn it over to Jeff Dunford, Vice President at Apps Associates. And Jeff, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it from here.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. And Chris as well. Thank you so much for having us today. As Nick mentioned, my name is Jeff Dunford. I'm the Vice President of Solutions Architecture here at Apps Associates. Me personally, I've been in the Oracle ecosystem since '95. Before that, I was with Big Five Consulting, Coopers & Lybrand, which is now PwC, and I've also spent some time at Anderson as well. I do specialize in supply chain and manufacturing, and I've been implementing Oracle products for about 22 years now. A little bit about Apps Associates. We were founded in 2002 by a team of ex-Oracle consultants. We are headquartered in the Northeast of the United States in Massachusetts. We do have locations in Dortmund, Germany, and Hyderabad, India, as well as 3 offices in the U.S., Acton, Mass, Austin, Texas, and Chicago. We are, as Nick mentioned, recognized as Oracle Cloud ERP experts, and we have over 120 implementations of Oracle Cloud ERP, and that is across all the pillars: financials, manufacturing, project accounting, and human capital management. At the moment, we have 295 clients that we have active. We do implementation services as well as managed services for customers running Oracle. 850 employees, and we do specialize in Oracle. We also have a Salesforce practice. We do Oracle Analytics, Oracle Integration Services, and then, as I mentioned, application and infrastructure managed services. Similar to Chris's slide, this is a representative sample of customers that we have live on Oracle's Cloud ERP offering. And as you can see, that encompasses several industries, and this is a representative subset of the customers that we have live and are very happy with the product. A couple comments before I turn it over to Jarrett, who will demo the application. Chris has mentioned, standardization adoption, AI, Internet of Things. Oracle is the leader in the forefront of those tools and offerings, and they are also considered the leader in cloud mixed mode manufacturing. So the old legacy ERPs, you could either do discrete or process or lean. Oracle's cloud offering has been re-architected completely so that you could take advantage of process manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, all within the same environment. As well as Oracle is trying to, with their application, prevent issues before they actually happen. So to be more proactive as opposed to reactive, and that is built within the architecture of the application. They are constantly releasing new feature functionality within the cloud solution, and they provide that by the use of quarterly updates. I mentioned proactiveness. Oracle has developed an IoT-enabled equipment solution within their offering, so you can get plant data and plant setup using IoT on assets. And because of that, and because of the way they have architected the solution, you can get, extensive drill downs right then and there to find out really what's going on in your supply chain facility. And then also to really look at the machine data that's being collected on the IoT assets, so you can do real-time production monitoring and even reactive production monitoring. Oracle has really tried to allow the users of the solution to manage by exception. So Chris had mentioned, modern best practices and standardization of practices. What they're trying to do is allow the operators and the shop floor users to focus on the issues as opposed to the management administration of the solution. So what they've done is they've automated a lot of the process steps that used to be manual, so that you do still have control using the analytics in the application, but it's preventing a lot of additional click views and machine clicks associated with executing the transaction. And also Oracle will have drill down so that you can validate that everything has been closed and tied out, so you don't have any downstream ramifications associated with the transaction. These are Oracle's pillars, so to speak, regarding the go-forward position of their Oracle Cloud ERP solution. So they've decided, based upon customer requirements, based upon what they've heard in the market, these 6 pillars are what Oracle's really driving towards as far as what they will do from a go-forward position with the Oracle supply chain solution. There's a lot of international companies that use Oracle, and with that comes, complex inventory movements, tracking of costs, and also multiple sourcing methods, whether that be make, buy, or, in different countries and in different suppliers. So that's an overview of the Oracle product suite, and I think the more exciting part is to actually see the product in use. So I am going to turn it over to my colleague, Jarrett Balter, with Apps Associates, and he will demonstrate the product.
Thanks, Jeff. This is Jarrett Balter. I'm the Director of Applications Delivery at Apps Associates. Like Jeff, I've been in the Oracle ecosphere for coming on about 20 years now. In a prior life, I was a buyer planner, transitioned into IT, and then got into Oracle applications. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through a demo of some of the features and functionality in the supply chain space, things I'm going to highlight, and things that Chris had talked about earlier, specifically targeting, the customer experience, the analytics, the efficiency built on best practice, and show you through that. First thing I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about product information management, the items themselves, and the very starting point of any supply chain flow and how that will flow through, how this integrates with quality to the manufacturing area, and then ultimately into planning. Okay, so today the very first landing spot I'm going to take you into is as a product data steward. So the way that the Oracle Cloud is built, it's a purpose-built SaaS solution predicated on roles and data access. As you can see here, I'm logged in here as Charles Johnson, and his role is a product data steward. You can see here the icons that are listed below are the subject areas that he would have access to. So the very first area that I'd like to take you into is product information management. We're going to pick one particular item or category of item, and we're going to follow it all the way through its life cycle within the Oracle Cloud itself. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the item itself. So I'm going to come into the menu screen, and I'm going to go ahead and look for this item that we're going to use for the rest of this demo. The very first thing that you're going to notice is everything is lumped together, and you'll see these blue links here. Anything with a blue link with an underline, I mean, it's a hyperlink. So we're going to be taking a look at this, this Halo tablet, and you can see at the very beginning, it'll give you an overview, and then we're going to look at some of the specifications and see how it drives the enablement of the item within the rest of the application. What you can see on the very first landing page, I'm on the transactional attributes. It tells me a little bit about its costing attributes, whether this is a work in process item. For any materials, this is a push or pull. How am I dealing with materials? And you can see each of the main subject areas are here on the left-hand side, and they're grouped appropriately. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them just to be able to show you how easy it is to find information within the subject areas. So after manufacturing, we'll go into inventory. You know, inventory will tell you, it'll give you a little bit about its material control. Is it stocked? Is it lot enabled? Does it require serialization? We'll go into planning quickly. This tells the system, how am I planning it? This happens to be MPS planned with the user to find time fence. How long is it going to take me to make it, etc. Once I've created the attributes for this item to tell the system how it's going to behave, there's something called structures. A structure is it's not quite the bill of material because it doesn't have to be the manufacturing bill of material, but this can include all your artwork items, your packaging items, etc. But it gives you a variable view of the items that make up this top level part number. What this will do is this will help drive when we create the work definition later on in this demonstration, what that means and how the work definition is executed, which will be used to create your work orders in manufacturing. In addition to these items, what you can see is these cubes. This cube here tells me it's an item. Again, anything with a hyperlink I can drill down on. This top level, if you hover over it, tells me I'm an item structure. And if I hover over this, these are the components that sit out underneath it. So back to the premise of easy to view, easy to use. Oracle gives you that high level screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you into the quality module to show you how I want to manage this high level tablet when I do my work orders, my execution. So to do that, I'm going to actually change roles and data access to another user who has access to that piece of the system. Okay, right now I'm logging in as Jenna Sanchez. She is a production supervisor. And as you can see here, some of her prompts have changed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into quality management. You know, one of the things Chris talked about was that customer experience, that analytics. As you can see here, as soon as I logged into quality, you'll see infolets that give me information that I can drill down to. If I've saved anything as a favorite, if I have any issues that are assigned to me, anything that's waiting my action. In this particular case, there's 16 open issues, and you can see highlighted here on the right-hand side, the categorization of those issues, low to critical. And just by hovering over, you can actually see the values. I've got 3 low issues. I've got 4 critical issues. What these links enable you to do is quickly, and efficiently be able to drill down and see the details behind it. So even if I wanted to, if I hit this landing page, I don't necessarily have to search for anything. Just by clicking on this red bar, this will bring me to the information that I need. So it'll bring me to those 4 critical issues. So now I can take a deeper look at it. But today we're going to focus on inspection plans, and we're going to talk about an inspection plan that I've created for this demonstration. And as you can see here, I've named it the same item that we're using for the rest of our demonstration. And I'm going to come in here. We're going to take a look at the inspection plan itself. This inspection plan will be used for work in process for this particular item. As you can see, this has date effectivity. It's in a status of approved. And this is something I've created using the Jenna Sanchez user. So what am I inspecting? Well, if I come over to the specifications, just by clicking on the down arrow, I can see that there's 2 attributes that I'm looking to inspect in my tablet. I'm looking to check the battery charge, and then I'm also looking to evaluate the screen size. You can see that there's two different characteristics that have been created for this. One has a numeric value in the screen size where I need to actually put in a value of what the screen size is. And you can see there's a minimum value and a maximum value, which allows some variability in the manufacturing process to say that the screen can be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than the standard. But the target is 260, which is right in the middle of 255 and 265 millimeters. And you'll see how I fill that information in later. The second attribute, the battery charge test, all I need to do, the operator who's performing the inspection on the product will just need to put in a pass or a fail. As you can see, there's no minimum or maximum value there because the values are pass or fail. There is very easy workflows associated with the action rules. And you can see here, Oracle gives you, again, a very efficient way to create these workflows of what to do upon an inspection. You can see here on the left-hand side, the specifications, that's where we are. I can do it by all the characteristics. I can do it by a specific characteristic. In this case, the way that we've created this inspection plan and what the actions are, all I've said is if any characteristics is out of inspection, then I want it to do something. I want it to do two things. I want it to display a message, and the message is going to say, please reject, please place your reject sticker on the side of the build. And the next thing I would like it to do is I would like it to create a quality issue. And that quality issue will appear for somebody to go through. And this is where a disposition will happen. Somebody will be able to interpret whether this is a manufacturing issue, a supplier issue, could be a training issue for a user on the floor. But this is the workflow of the next steps that'll need to be done. The last part of this is the inspection criteria. What levels do I want to allow the inspection? So these are the different operation codes that are associated with the routing and my work order and my work definition that we'll look at in a little while. And you'll see how this plan all comes together as part of that. So I'm going to leave the quality area now, and I'm now going to go into my work definition. And my work definition is nothing more than is a combination of a bill of material, my routing, my standard operation. So it'll take all my resource information, my item information, all the operations I need to perform and pull that all together. As you can see here again, which is a common theme within the Oracle Cloud applications, are these analytic analysis type tools, these infolets that drive information, that give me information right at my fingertips without me having to look anything up. I can see here that I've got a couple of work centers. I've got three. I got 3 for laptop and 6 for tablets. And these are my resources here that have been set up. And you can tell very easily by the colors. And you can see the legend down at the bottom, how to distinguish equipment versus labor. Within the tablet assembly work center, I've got 1 equipment resources, and I've also got 1 labor resource. And you can see the total number of resources is 2 just by hovering over. And then within this organization, this manufacturing organization 002, there's 4 total equipment pieces that we'll be dealing with and 5 labor resources that we're dealing with. But for now, we're going to go into the work definition and take a look at what that means in the cloud. So I'm going to manage the work definitions. So in order to do that, I'm going to look up my item. I'm going to search for it. And you see it returns this information. So I'm going to drill down and I'm going to bring you in. And again, the theme of the visualization carries forward. If you remember when we originally came into this demo, we went into the product information management section, otherwise known as PIM. It had that item structure. And what happens in the work definition area, that item structure information is collected here. And as you set up each of your steps in your routing, as you can see, this routing has 3 steps. First, somebody's going to assemble it, somebody's going to test it, and somebody's going to pack it. In the assembly areas where we'd have all our items that we will use, whether they be subassembly components, whether they were manufactured in a different work line or whatever it may be, this is where this is. And what Oracle allows you to do is a simple drag and drop model to be able to build this out successfully. So what it does And what it also gives you is a visual overview. These green check marks means I've consumed this within this tablet assembly area here. So Oracle, again, is giving you a very visual indication when something is correct, or if there's, so this way you only have to manage by exception. So quickly, I'm going to drill down and just take a look at this tablet assembly. Just by clicking on it, it will expand this area, and it'll show me I've got 6 components. Again, as you can see here, what Oracle is allowing you to do is to get information about what's going on in this area without having to leave these screens and close down and start a new operation. So if I want to find out a little bit about this component that goes in, all I have to do is click on the little cube here, and it'll give me some information. It'll tell me how much of it is planning. But I can also go in here and I can look at the specifications, the structures, the attachments or relationships that drill all the way back into that product information master that we saw. So you've got a cohesive, integrated application that allows you to see referential information as you move along in the application. For ease of use, Oracle is giving you these little grids down here. So as I expand and I make these areas bigger, I can use my mouse to move things up and down to highlight areas that I want to be in. I can continue to drill down to see additional information that I would want to see as I go through this. The other theme that is pervasive and popular throughout the cloud, as you'll see here, is this social. So Oracle Social Network is Oracle's tool that allows you to document information and share it with your colleagues as you move along, whether I've got questions, whether I just need to post additional information, things I want to share along the way. It's really important in the course of the workflow, which allows the ultimate collaboration between an employee and their peers. So I will come out of here and I'll show you as I come down and I come out. You'll see here, this social area is right here. It'll tell me, this is the social network area, and it tells me I've got one work definition message and there's 2 pieces of employee news. And you can see the little prompt here where I can create conversations. This is where I can create my social information, where if I can find out if there's anything I want to find out about that work definition, it'll bring me into this social page. And this is where I can add information. I can collect information about the work definition itself. I will now show you a little bit about the work order itself, the work execution. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to create a work order and we're going to go through it. Again, the minute I come in, a new set of infolettes has presented itself to me to give me some information. So as a supervisor, I can look to see, okay, show me how much product's been rejected over the last 7 days. How many are complete? How many work orders? I've got 4 total work orders out there already. And as you can see, they're on 3 total states. I've got them ready. I've got them not ready, which means no action's been taken on them, and things that are completed, waiting for closure. So everything with a hyperlink allows you to drill down and continue to work through this model. So what I'll do now is I'm going to go ahead and create a work order for this item that we talked about. So we are going to click on the plus sign, and we're going to add a work order, and we'll just create it for 1, and I'll save and close this. Okay. So I've got this new unreleased work order that I've now created. Now, what I can do is I can click in here and I can start to see information about that work order. If I wanted to see information about that work order, it'll tell me the status of it. Again, we had the 3 operations we talked about when we showed the work definition just a few minutes ago. We've got the assembly, which requires 6 items. We have tablet testing, which requires a quality resource, and tablet packing. And this is your pack out for your finished good. And we can go through, and you can see here, because I've got the zeros highlighted in red, I haven't executed anything yet. Once I execute the work order, we'll come back into this particular work order and show you how the history has changed here and how the information gets updated in real time. So once I'm here, I'm going to release and pick the materials. Now again, what I can do is I can print pick slips that will go to the floor to tell the users on the floor that they need to go out and get the material that's needed for this particular work order. I can say only pick the work order if the materials are eligible to be picked. So I might have a shortage in the warehouse that we can't build this right now. So I don't want to release anything that's not able to be built. So, but I'm going to go ahead, and I know I already have information. I already have items on hand, so I'll go ahead and release this. Again, with the theme of Oracle simplicity and immediate action and managed by exception, I can see confirmation. I get a confirmation message immediately that the work order has been set to released, which I can see here, and that my pick material was processed. This can be sent to a printer, but in the interest of time, I will show you. I can print the pick list just from my desktop since I don't have a printer next to me, and show you immediately how this is set up. So you can see clearly from the component pick list report, everything is barcoding enabled to allow to continue the theme of efficiency, not having to key anything into the system, being able to show the 6 components that make up my work order, but also allow me to scan that information as I use it and as I backflush those materials that are going to make up my my end assembly. So now what we're going to do now is we'll come out of here, and now you can see. If you remember before, there was nothing here for ready. Because I've released this, I can now come in, I can click on this, and now my tablet assembly is ready to be released. So here I've got work order 1053, and I'm going to complete with details. The very first thing that you see here is because I have set this up this way, this is the inspection that is required. And if you notice that the battery test charge and the screen size were the two characteristics that we're going to put into play here. So for example, the pass fail, I can say something fails. Immediately that message that we had set up in the system pops up on the screen to tell the user. So now I'm managing by exception. In addition to the message, I immediately have a red X here that shows me here, not only has this failed here, but it has failed here. But if I do change this to pass, it will change my status to green, and I will go ahead and do the same thing. I'll put in my specifications here, and I'll move on through the execution of the work order. So what this shows you on top is the train tracks of how the work order needs to be executed. So first we're going to inspect it, we're going to issue product to it, we're going to backflush the materials, and then deal with my resourcing at the end. So just by clicking next, it'll show me I've got one that needs to be done. Do I need to print any labels? Yes or no? Now it gives me all this information. Because of the way I have the item set up, I already have the system defaulted to pull this from the store sub-inventory. And because of that, because of the interactive nature of the product, I can see by the green check marks, which tells me visually and quickly, without having to do anything more than look at it, that my material is available. So with just 2 or 3 clicks, I can complete a work order down on the floor. So I've got this material. I'll push this through. And at the end of the day, I've got my operations for my resources, save and close. My work order is now complete, and I can move on to the next operations step. So as you can see, with 2 or 3 clicks of a mouse, I can move through these operation steps, and it gives me that train track information up top, which allows me to move quickly and efficiently through the system. What I will do now is I will now review a large component of the supply chain area is the planning module. And for that, I will need to switch users again to somebody who has that roles and data access. So I will log in as Billy Salazar. And as you can see here, she has different prompts. But again, you can see the theme carried through is the social area is up front. This Billy Salazar is involved in 2 conversations. She's following one, and she has somebody actually following her. She's got 15 social interactions that revolve a plan. There's 2 pieces of employee news and one that has to do around the planning cycle. But what I'll do now is I'm going to go into Oracle's Planning Central, which is their supply demand combination planning module. Oracle offers underneath their planning suite for specific subject areas demand management, supply planning, demand and supply, and sales and operations planning. So I'm going to go into Planning Central. And the first thing that you're going to notice when we log in is you're going to see, again, the graphical interface that drives information within the planning area, which gives the planners information which is highlighted in real time. So I'm not waiting for anything. I'm not waiting for information. This collects, once collection is done, to pull in information from inventory, or if I'm dealing with demand planning for my sales orders, purchase orders, etc. This will all come in and it'll start to build out these graphs for you. So you can see here some of the delivered graphs out of the box, just in the basic supply demand area, revenue and margin, shipment forecast versus MAPE, MAPE being mean absolute percentage error, forecast comparison, demand risk. If I want to see my inventory turns. So I'm going to go in and we're going to take a look at, forecast comparisons for the very first thing. And to be able to see the graph of the forecast comparisons, all I have to do is click on this little down arrow here. And you can see here, it highlights it in blue to let me know this is my highlighted subject area. And it'll bring in my forecast comparison by period. So it brings in two sets of graphs. I've got a line graph here on the left-hand side for my forecast comparison by period. But I've also got here on the right-hand side my forecast comparison by product category. And again, with the legend on the right, of each graph, I can easily distinct what I'm looking at, what the information is. And you can actually build these graphs yourself by simply coming in here, and you can see what the selected measures are, and Oracle gives you a litany of measures that you can use to create your graphs to display the information that you need to see to effectively run your business. But for now, I'm going to take a look at the ones that here in front of us. The very first thing I want to do is I want to take a look. I've got two different tablets. I've got an air tablet and a non-air tablet. The very first thing I want to do is I want to look at my sales forecast. Well, how do I get some more information? What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'm going to drill down, and I want to look at the material plan for that. And what that's going to do is give me a chart information, or an Excel type tool to allow me to see how that information is being driven. And you can see the buckets of time across the top, and then the measures across the left-hand side. And you can see how these graphs are being built. Manual demand, you've got manual demand in here. Let's say something's not right. You don't see something that's right or something that was missed. I can actually make my edits here as a planner, so I don't have to wait. So I can actually put information in here to affect change, to be able to run simulations to see what changes I have within my material plans. So I can save this, and I can come back out. And if I made a big enough change, I can come back into my plan analysis, and I could refresh this information. So if I were to come back in here, if I made a big enough change in here, I would see that change being reflected in here. Again, I can move through each of the subject areas, which allows me to react and be able to move as quickly as I need to move. Quickly, I'll go into the inventory turns. If I want to go into my inventory turns, again, I can see information. It gives me graphical information by subject area. And again, I'm dealing with tablets. The movement, right? The projected available balances here on the right-hand side, and it's color coded to each of the subject areas here to tell me if it's a battery, it's a memory, it's a display, etc. So again, the common theme throughout Oracle's cloud application is customer experience, allowing users to be able to come in here and have high leverage usability, allow a user to come and see at a high level, quickly analyze data information while being able to drill down to each of the subject areas and be able to get more information and be efficient. The idea behind the Oracle Cloud is be able to execute your job with less clicks as you move along the way, and that is pervasive, and it's built on modern best practices. This is a purpose-built tool, built best in class for each of the subject areas. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Jarrett. Great overview of the application. And Jeff and Nick, thanks for your input as well. Just a reminder to take advantage of our 1 hour of free consulting. Please visit our website and try to take advantage of that offer. Some good information and good discussions happen during those times. And then please contact Laura Florence if you want to have any further discussion around Panorama and our services. Laura's information is right here on the screen. She's Director of Business Development. Laura comes from the consulting side from Panorama, so she really knows the business very well and knows what she is selling. Good resource for Panorama. A couple of quick questions while we're waiting here. And Jeff, could you please explain the scalability and the entry points of the Oracle Cloud application?
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Chris. A lot of folks have this preconceived notion that Oracle is a big solution for a big company, which is actually not the case. We actually have some customers that are free revenue. We've implemented Oracle in a pharmaceutical company that is preparing to release a drug but has no revenue and no customers. So we can get into a customer, implement Oracle financials, general ledger, payables, receivables, purchasing within 10 to 12 weeks time, and then as they grow into the application, they can introduce supply chains for a base deployment that would be approximately about 16 weeks. Subsequently, there are a lot of Fortune 15 companies that run Oracle. Oracle runs Oracle itself, so Oracle is upwards of $30 billion. So the entry point is not what most people expect. It's relatively easy to put into a pre-revenue or a $0 to $10 million company and continue to grow with the application itself.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And then could you also explain Oracle's positioning as a solution provider in the cloud?
Yep. So they really were in on it very, very early, and they re-architected their entire legacy platform, whether it be the JD Edwards solution, the e-business suite solution, or the PeopleSoft solution. So I often joke with customers and say, this isn't your father's Oracle. They rewrote the entire platform. For those of you who do have some familiarity with Oracle, you'll notice the screens that Jarrett were going through are a much different look and feel than what they did in the past. And with the cloud deployment solution, you get quarterly updates. So that's the beauty of the cloud. You never really truly have to upgrade. They're constantly releasing new features and functionality within the applications, and they have some significant supply chain feature functionality coming out in 2020 related to process manufacturing, project manufacturing, lean manufacturing, and some of the other components associated with a best-in-class solution.
Okay, well, thanks for that explanation, Jeff. And thank you again to the Apps Associates team and Oracle. I thought it was a very good overview and a good webinar today. Thank you very much to all of our attendees for attending today's webcast. And we're looking forward to talking to everyone soon. Thank you.